Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Adam Williams.
And I'm Ashley Muckinhaupt.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain a rational optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams. Oh my gosh. This is going to be the best episode yet.
Yeah. I mean, we say it every time, but...
We say it at the end.
Yeah.
We say it at the end. That was the best one yet.
Yeah.
But this, we're calling it. We're calling our shot. This is going to be the best one.
Yep.
Episode 7. Awesome show. It's Mother's Day week. So it's Wednesday. Mother's Day is on Sunday. And today, Maverick Mothers.
Maverick Mothers.
I also want to shout out Amanda Burlingham for giving me that name, coming up with the idea. That was her idea. I haven't given her any credit for it, but that was really good.
That was perfect.
So Maverick Mothers, we're here with a Maverick Mother.
Yes.
Jackie Williams, my roommate. Yeah, and so I think this is going to be cool because the whole idea with this show is I think a lot of people look at what we accomplish as a family, what Jackie accomplishes, and people ask, how do you do it all? And we're just going to give them that answer today. We're going to teach them how we do it all.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert, we don't. But as long as you give that impression on social media. No, so this is going to be really good. So Jackie's here today. Really excited about this. This is going to be a really great show. Yeah. Let's go.
I have been excited to hear from Jackie since we asked her to be on the show, so I can't wait. I've been waiting, but as always, before we start, we got to tell everyone where to find us.
Oh, man. I'm so excited this week. All right. Streaming live on Facebook, Maverick Mindset Radio. We're working out some kinks on the YouTube live streaming, but don't worry. We're streaming live on YouTube, just on the wrong channel. It'll be fixed by next week. We got our prior episodes, so I think we're through episode 5 or 6 up on Spotify, so people can go back and re-listen. And then, of course, MaverickMindsetRadio.com. Maverick merch. I have it in my hand.
Me too.
Where's my camera? Can you see this?
Where's mine?
Look at that. If you're listening, you can't see how awesome this is, but if you're on the live stream, we have our notebooks, our Maverick Mindset Radio notebooks. All right, so I want to tell you a story. Also, Maverick merch, Maverick 10 for 10% off at MaverickMindsetRadio.com. All right, so I had a friend reach out.
And the stickers.
We got stickers, we got coffee mugs, but all I have today is the notebook. And the notebooks are really nice.
Yes.
Like I was quite happy with how these turned out.
Hardcover.
So here's why you need a notebook. Because we've only sold a couple.
Yeah.
2 of them are sitting right here in this room. I had a friend reach out. I don't know that I've ever met this person live in person, but we've got mutual acquaintances. We've worked together on things in the past. Whatever. So she reached out. And she's like, "Dude, the podcast is awesome." I said, "Thank you." Also, I know, but thank you. And she just wanted to catch up, see what was going on. She's going through some changes in her life. Loves what we're talking about. So we met for about 15 minutes last week, and she was like, "Adam, this is that show is like the seminars, the 2 and 3 day seminars that I go to, that I travel across the country and book the hotel room, and book the flight, and spend time away from my family and away from my pets. It's that content every week for an hour."
Yes.
And it's like, okay, not to undersell it, but yeah, I mean, these are seminars that people go to and spend thousands of dollars, and here we are doing it for free every single week. You don't have to travel. I hope you're all
be sitting with your coffee mug.
With your coffee mug and your notebook. And that's what I love about the notebook. I love having a dedicated space for this show in particular, and that's what I'm using the notebook. I'm really hitting this thing hard to sell these $14 notebooks. But the point is, even if you don't buy our branded notebook, which you should, it is nice to, a lot of people are taking notes. I'm getting a lot of feedback on people taking action after this show, which is what we're all about, even though mindset is in our name. You need action. And it's nice to have a dedicated place to write this down. Right. That way you can go back and find it. Obviously, you can go back and re-listen on Spotify. I've done that with a couple of the episodes, and that's really interesting too, because I pick up different things that I said every time that I listen to it. I know the same thing happens to the listeners. So a lot of good stuff happening. Maverick Mindset Radio. Stickers, coffee mugs. I did drink my coffee this morning out of the coffee mug. First time I used it. And then, of course, the notebooks, which are really nice.
Did you get the one that's black inside or red?
I got the black inside.
Me too.
Yeah. I might order a red one.
Yeah.
We need in studio coffee mugs.
Yes.
So maybe we'll get red ones just to test it out. So all right. So we're all over the internet. Subscribers are stacking up in Spotify. We do need more followers on YouTube, but we're going to work on that later. We'll post some of that on social media because we don't have the 100 yet. We got to get to 100 so we can get the custom URL, get a little bit of credibility, and then start getting some heavy hitters on this show. So really excited. So we've in the last few episodes rearranged.
We have
our run of show a little bit. So now we've been leading off with our quote of the day.
Yes.
For the last few episodes.
We're going to lead off with the quote of the day. And I thought it would be a good idea if we asked Jackie to both pick the quote and read it to us today, and then explain the meaning behind why she picked it.
Yeah. So today, quote of the day, brought to you by Rust Belt Business Law. Rust Belt Business Law exists to help business owners with the issues that keep them up at night. Jackie, hit us with the quote of the day.
I am creative, I am powerful, and I can handle it. And it is a quote taken out of Maria Shriver's book, The 10 Things.
You know what? Maria Shriver's good enough, because here's the thing. I think this is the first quote we've actually attributed the quote to someone and didn't just straight up steal it. So, Maria Shriver, thank you for the quote of the day. So, I'm creative, I am powerful, and I can handle it. You know what's funny is you said that before the show to Ashley, and now I get it.
Oh, you didn't know what?
Yeah, all right. So I was like, wow, that's a really positive affirmation for you guys to be leading off with. Yes. And here we are.
Why
you didn't attribute it to Maria Shriver at that point.
No, but
Why that quote? Why did you choose?
So this kind of goes off of the newsletter that we did for the law firm and Pennywise this month. The first self-help book I listened to is an audiobook by Maria Shriver, The 10 Things I Wish I'd Known Before I Went Out into the Real World. And the chapter that really influenced me the most, she said that she would have that quote in her mirror every morning, and she would say it, or every day, and she'd say it to herself in the morning and at night. Just to
and
be
for
awesome.
Those who don't know, and this book's 20-some years old, remind us who Maria Shriver is.
She is a journalist. She is part of the Kennedy family and was also married to Arnold Schwarzenegger, former governor of California.
Former action hero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's Arnold. That's not Maria.
That was, and she's a mother of 4 children.
Yes.
All right. Let's get into it. So we've got our Mother's Day theme, our Maverick Mothers theme, which we're going to get into. But because you are officially a guest on this show, we have our official guest questions that we ask every single guest.
Okay.
And we don't tell the guests in advance what the questions are. You've heard this. You're familiar with this concept.
Yes.
So we use the same questions every time we have a guest on, but we don't tell the people what they are. That way we can, if you're prepared for this, we know you're a listener, we know you are ready for the questions. If you're not prepared, we're going to know. We're going to find out real soon.
Well,
so let's get into the 5 fast questions here. Is it 5? I don't even remember. I lost track. Whatever.
A little more.
It's funny. Here I am taking shots at guests being unprepared, and I'm like, how many questions do we have? So all right. So here we are. It is Wednesday, May 8th. It's the week of Mother's Day. It's the Maverick Mothers show on Maverick Mindset Radio. That was really challenging to say. Should have rehearsed that a little bit. Our guest, Jackie Williams. Oh, I just answered part of the first question for you. Okay, I'm making it easy on you. Name and business. Go.
My name is Jacqueline Williams. I am the CFO of Rust Belt Business Law, and I am the CEO, co-founder of and tax strategist at Pennywise Tax Strategies.
All right.
60 seconds for your backstory.
Oh, gosh.
Go.
Clock's running.
I did not prepare. Okay. My backstory, where do I start? I was born in 1983.
50 seconds left.
Okay. I'm the eldest of 3 children, so that says a lot about my personality. And I, born and raised Erie, Pennsylvania, left to go to college in Clarion, Pennsylvania, and then started my career in Pittsburgh. I am a recovering perfectionist, so I worked very hard in school to get very good grades and left Clarion.
All right, we'll give you additional time.
3.99999.
We'll give you additional time. Let's clarify. You graduated college in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was your GPA?
3.99999.
And why was it not a 4.0?
Because I got a B in tennis.
A one credit.
It was tennis?
A one credit tennis course.
Yep.
And you got a B.
Yeah.
And that ruined your 4.0 in 3.5 years.
So many lessons taught in that B.
Clearly. All right. So graduated college, started your professional career in Pittsburgh at a Big Four accounting firm.
Yes.
Right. And then let's accelerate the next 10 or 15 years. How did you go from working at one of the biggest accounting firms in the world to being a founder of a tax strategy business? Go.
I think I started deciding how I wanted to live life beyond just work. I think what I just described, the perfectionism in college and school, led me to want to be perfect in my career. But life starts having you ask different questions. So in 2009, we were not yet 2 years married, and I lost our first baby and made a decision to leave public accounting. I didn't think that the hours were lining up with the other things I wanted in my life. And so I left to have a more work-life balance at PNC Bank. And I did. I really enjoyed my time there. I was able to do a lot of nerdy accounting stuff. And I then also, we were able to grow our family there. I worked from home 4 days a week. I pioneered a telecommuting program. So I was based out of Pittsburgh, and we moved our family home to Erie.
So this is pre-pandemic. You're
Yeah.
working from home. You've got the hybrid work schedule, which back then wasn't really a thing.
Right. So 4 days a week I would work from home. 1 day a week I would drive into Pittsburgh, knowing full well that if I did not respect a good work-at-home environment and stay focused, that could all go away. They could expect me to be in the office every day after that. And that, I moved into different positions throughout that oops. Sorry, I'm shaking my bracelets over here. Throughout that time, and basically got to the point where, okay, the law firm's taking off. If I put all of my effort in the same arena and we aligned our focus together, we could really do something pretty powerful and have a greater impact.
So that was 2019, and I got to cut you off on
Yeah.
your backstory because you're
I'm way
minutes
over.
into it now at this point. But don't worry, we're going to get into the next chapter of that as we get deeper into this interview. But that was 2019,
Yeah.
and one thing that you said is you were looking for that work-life balance. You wanted to shift around your priorities a little bit. You wanted different things out of life. If you started asking different questions, and that's something that we talk about on this show is your goals. How you spend your time, how much money you want to make, what the impact is that you want to have, your personal, professional, financial goals. Like I don't think we understood that framework back then, but we definitely knew, hey, I have something that I don't want and I want something different, and I'm not sure exactly what that looks like. The other part of this is in 2019, when you left PNC, like you left a pretty good paying job with pretty good benefits where you could work from home and there was health insurance, and you came and worked with me in a business that we had been running for 7 years because you helped, right?
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
were doing bookkeeping, you would help with our taxes, and then decided to take this plunge of. I remember the burn the ships conversation. Like we're not turning back for this. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to hear more about what led to the launch of Pennywise, but tell us what's going on in that business now.
In
Pennywise. Yeah.
So we help small businesses plan for their taxes, and when you plan instead of react, you can find opportunities legally within the tax code to do the things that you want to do with the least amount of post-tax dollars as possible, doing them as much with pre-tax dollars or find more tax savings in that manner.
So the business is now really only 10 months old.
Yeah.
So what's the project that you're working on right now as you scale this business? What's your biggest focus right now?
Our biggest focus right now is to start planning, find as many people as possible that were pained by their tax bill just a couple weeks ago, and help them not have that happen this year.
Yeah, those
year.
entrepreneurs, those business owners who wrote that check April 15th and said there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
You're creating that better way.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, next one. Imagine that you had a panel of 3 people, living or dead. Who would you choose and why would you choose them?
To help you make your most important decisions.
So, my panel that I've always that I've had, those 3, like, because there was a book I read that I'm like, oh, who would be my panel? And those 3 people were Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
I knew that was going to be one of them.
Because, you know, I didn't know if I liked my name for the longest time. I get, like, funny nicknames around the name Jackie. And she really, like, I was first drawn to her in that way. Because I'm like, man, this woman's classy. And she has the same name as me. But
do you remember that play that we went to in Pittsburgh? It was Marilyn and Jackie.
Yes.
And she goes, Jacqueline. No, Jackie, the unfortunate name that all Jacquelines must eventually learn to live with.
Exactly.
Great. All right, so Jackie Kennedy, who else?
So Audrey Hepburn. And
why is she on your list?
Because her life is really remarkable. She went through a lot of, like, you know, she came out of a war-torn country, made it as an actress, and then kind of chose to just put that all to bed to raise her kids and be a humanitarian. And I think she made a lot of life choices that, you know, she really chose to live her life.
I did not know that. I didn't know
she is. And I mean, all of these women, I really appreciate their style.
Yeah.
But I really.
All right, who's number 3?
And then Coco Chanel, and she's more of my business, my business person. I think she learned a lot of lessons. She grew a business in a time when women couldn't even have...
She built an empire.
Right. Yeah. She built an empire in a time where women couldn't even have bank accounts. And she learned, and, you know, she revived it from World War II. Made some mistakes, probably some would say, along the way, which is how all people grow.
So your panel is Jackie Kennedy, Coco Chanel, Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good panel.
I am re-examining it, though, because the last time I told a group of people about it, I'm like, you know, there are probably areas that I could use some advice outside of those people.
If you had to get rid of one, who would it be?
Who would be the first to go?
Who would be the first to go? Who's getting cut?
I don't know. But maybe I'd say I need a panel of 5.
That's it. Yeah, this is
Jackie's
theme. We're not subtracting. We're only adding.
Yeah.
All right.
Need some men on the panel.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Have you ever hated anyone?
I don't think I've ever hated anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
we may need to change this question. If we keep getting that answer.
I mean,
like, who's the person you disliked the most?
No, I want hatred. I want that person that you would wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, this guy.
I don't think. I mean, I think it has to do with, like, being curious, because there's some reason, and compassion. There's some reason that they're on that. Oh, sorry, I'm not close enough to the mic. There's some reason that they have that.
I think the challenge that I'm having with that question is, like, judging the act and not the person, right? There's things that people have done that I've hated, but the person, that's a higher threshold. But don't worry, we will eventually get someone on this show.
That'll just be like, it was this person?
Yep.
Yes.
It was going to be something from high school, right? Okay, so you've never hated anyone. All right, go ahead, Ashley.
If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Everything all over again, what would I do differently? I think I would challenge what I thought were my beliefs sooner. I would.
Oh, Maverick mothers!
I mean, I think I would question, why do I feel so strongly about this, and is that the truth? Like, really question to find the truth sooner in life.
Like examine your thoughts.
Yes.
Why
Examine
you
your
believe
beliefs.
the things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm. What, like, is there any one or two in particular that you're like, oh yeah, I wish that I had picked this apart and was a little more critical of this belief.
Yeah, because then it would have changed a direction or something that you.
I think the belief about like women having it harder or have to have it harder or like I don't know how to explain that. I think that there's a lot of pressure on women. There's a lot of expectations, but I think like living in that and accepting that more as a victim than being empowered by that, I would have looked for that sooner in life.
What about, and again, living with you for a couple of years, nearly 20. What about your appetite or approach for risk?
Yeah, I could say I would definitely probably accept failure sooner too.
Or maybe not even your like maybe your definition of risk, right? Like mm-hmm. I think that you were raised by a family that had good jobs, mm-hmm. very secure jobs that seemed low risk, and then you left one of those to come and join our family business, mm-hmm. and which, like, do you have a different perception now on which of those is actually riskier?
Yeah, I have a different viewpoint on that. I feel more empowered, knowing that we kind of set our own trajectory. We don't rely on someone else to say we still have a job or not.
You're never going to have that day where the boss comes in a bad mood and says you don't work here anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think more of it comes from, I think it's maybe less risk focused and more like accepting like failure as a lesson. Which I think they kind of go hand in hand, right?
Yep.
You're taking on more risk when you accept the possibility that you're going to shoot for something that you might fail at.
On that note, what keeps you up at night?
Jackie's like so many things.
Oh no, this is like a household battle. We wake up in the morning and check our Aura app for the ring, no. And she shows me how much deep sleep she got, yeah. And then my number is usually half of that, and it's a source of immense frustration for me. So it's kind of ironic that she sleeps fine at night. What right. prevents you from going to sleep on time? How about that?
I think it's more of like, am I doing I'm always questioning, am I doing the most important thing right now? Am I doing the thing that really requires my attention to make the biggest step forward? And I think I question myself a lot on that.
Is it that you question whether you're doing the most important thing, or do you question whether you're doing enough?
I think it's both. Yeah. If I did a lot today, I did a lot, but did I do the most important thing in all that I did?
I think that's a question a lot of people, moms, women in general, have. So how do you, because you could go down a rabbit hole with that very quickly.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around to say, to justify what you did for the day? That you're not saying I should have done more, like giving yourself the negative talk of what you did.
I think, going off of a former topic of like the self-talk and the self-compassion, and I think I just spend some time with, okay, so what's the worst that's going to happen if I didn't, do that or make the list for tomorrow? Adam got these really cool pens that light up.
Yeah.
So like if it is something that comes up right before I'm going to sleep, I can click and write them down.
Yeah, without turning on without lighting up the entire room.
Without ruining his sleep.
Yeah. Trust me, that happens on its own.
Yeah.
All right, great. Last question. Last prepared interview question.
What do you want to be doing in 5 years?
So, that's funny because that's when related to my action item. But in 5 years, I would like to be helping a lot more businesses save on their taxes. I don't have the big number yet, but I'm working on that. I'd like to have had a book published, and I would like to have designed some clothes.
Nice.
In addition
I'd
to
buy them.
Being happily married, traveling, fulfilled in that way. And
so
my kids
growing the business.
Yeah.
And not like a little bit of growth. We're talking like 10, 20 times where it is right now.
Yeah.
Publish a book.
Yeah.
What do you want your book to be about?
So I read so many devotionals every morning, but I want to do kind of like a devotional kind of mindset book, a daily reader book on the topic of faith, fashion, finances, help women kind of get their ducks in a row that way.
And then your third item in 5 years was designing clothes.
Yeah. But those are like professional goals. I mean, I have other things outside of that.
So I have a question though. If those are the first three things you said, right? Great. What are you doing now to make sure that happens 5 years from now? Like, are you actually taking steps? Do you have a plan, or is this just hopes and dreams?
No, I definitely have steps. We have a business plan for Pennywise that I'm moving through, building systems out there. I've already started working on ideas for the book. And, I mean, in terms of, I slowly, I jot down a bunch of ideas in terms of clothing line. But
so 2024 Jackie is already working on 2029 Jackie.
So that was a good question, because you hear a lot of people say, this is what I want to be doing, but they're not doing anything to get there. They think if they have the thought, I'm going to think it into existence, which
this goes back to our episode
I'm going to manifest it, but I'm not going to do anything.
You say what you want.
Yeah.
Show me your calendar and your bank account, and we'll decide whether you're serious about that or not. And I think with these, well, it actually is both of these. Growing the business requires us to dip into our bank account because we're growing it, we're scaling it. Writing the book, it is something that you actually commit time to and you work on. It's on your calendar. And designing clothes, I'm pretty sure I'm watching the kids some night this week so that you can go and do something like that. So it's on both of our calendars. So I think that's a really important point that you say that you want these things, and oh, by the way, the evidence suggests that you are actually working towards achieving them, which I think is so important. Your bank account, your calendar will tell us what your priorities actually are. They're not just hopes and dreams.
Yeah, and I guess I also want to inject there that's professionally what I'd like to see transpire. Obviously, there are other aspects of life that I don't, I haven't included in that. I think I naturally, when I'm sitting here in a suit coat, I think first about professional, but it's very important to me that I'm not going to sacrifice making sure that my kids are learning their life skills and seeing how we live our lives, and translating that to them, as something I want to make sure happens in the next 5 years. But in the next 5 years, Royce will be 18. Oh God, Penny will be 12.
She'll be driving.
Yeah. Even though she's 12.
Yeah.
I got a strong girl. And, obviously we want to do that together. So, how do we spend the time and make the time to keep connecting and experiencing life together, having adventure together, so that we can teach our kids to have that too.
So since you said all that there's professionally and all this stuff that you want to do, but then there's this stuff that you want to do, most people are like, well, you can't do both of them.
You did. You know what? Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
You just did it. You were talking with your hands.
I did.
And I've never noticed it until you said it this morning, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Like if the people on camera saw it, right? Good. But the people on Spotify are just missed a huge moment where you really delineated the two categories. All right.
Yeah.
So now that I've
if this were a drinking game, every time I talk with my hands.
And listen, I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm surprised I don't get up and walk around this studio to prove a point. But I never noticed it about you, and now I'm like hyper aware of it.
It's all the time.
All right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So maybe ask that question again, because I've completely derailed it. I lost focus. I'm sure our listeners have too.
Well, because some people can sit here and say it's easy.
Now you're self-conscious about it.
Well, no, I'm doing it down here. Some people would say that that's easy for you to say, because you already have a business. You already have so you can say and that's what you're going to do in 5 years, and then you can add in that you're going to do this stuff with your family. But putting my hands down.
Like
this is really hard.
Like a cheerleading pose.
But that gets in people's way because they're like, it has to be one or the other. Like right now, I can only focus on the kids and the family and what I have to do to just make sure they're okay. And my dreams can wait, and what I want to do has to wait till that's done. I can't possibly be managing both. So
I know exactly where this question is coming from too, because we had somebody signed up for our mastermind, and so we have, we've got these group calls every month, and then she said, I can't do this anymore because I have 2 young kids, and you got angry.
I did.
You were like, what? Then what are you doing? Like,
because I wanted more for that. I knew that shouldn't have been an excuse, and I knew that. And I'm not offending anyone, but I know telling yourself that you can't. It's something that I learned from you. Yeah. I know telling yourself that you can't do something and then telling yourself the excuses of why you can't do it are just that. There's no reason that you can't unless you set it up that way yourself. So it's not easy for you to do, but even though some people might say that. So what do you say to?
I'd even, and I come from a place of compassion with that, because on this journey, got up in front of David Nagel, who's someone that we worked a lot with on our mindset. And I said to him, I've lost 4 babies. I'm slowing down in my career to help build the law firm. How do I justify that I shouldn't just be pouring into the 2 that I have? Is that what God is telling me to do? And wow, if I make it through this podcast without crying,
it's amazing.
And so, he was like, it doesn't have to be that. It's not God gave you 2 babies, so now that's all you are.
Yeah.
There's other desires that are put in your heart. There are other ways that you're here to contribute. And,
it's so real close. On Maverick.
It's real.
Is this our first crier?
It is, but that's why I wanted Jackie on the show, because it's so real. And so many people have so many, I'm going to differentiate. Women and mothers have those exact feelings. It's emotional for us to have to exactly what's happening right now, and you struggle with that, and that can keep you from moving forward.
Admitting first of all that you can't do it all, and second of all that like your priorities will shift.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's okay.
When your kids turn 18 and move out of the house, like your primary role is not mother, but even before that, like for period. It could be an evening, could be an afternoon, could be the day when you go to work. Like the priorities can shift and your roles can shift. And this is why I wanted to clarify the question earlier about asking yourself if you're doing enough. Well, by whose definition?
Right.
And I think that's why this is, if I can completely read your mind here, because we've talked about this, I think that's what makes this a tough conversation. Is it's so empowering to get to the moment where you say, you know what, it's not society's definition, it's mine. And that's a scary thing to say. And I had this conversation yesterday. I did a VIP day with a client, and at the end of it, he was talking about whether he should post more on social media, and like what if people don't like what he's doing, because he's in crypto, right? And there's people have opinions about that. And I said, well, you can continue to post nothing, or you can wait until you have the outcome and post the outcome, or you can post the process. And he goes, oh, I want to post the process. I said, then you have to be ready to offend people. You have to be so confident in what you're doing that people walk away. And you know what he said? He goes, yeah, but you don't have that problem. I said, are you kidding me? Like, there are people that can't stand what I'm doing. There are people who love it, and I find the more I put myself out there, the more it is magnetic, so you attract, but you also push a lot of people away, and you have to be prepared for that. And I think this is a very similar thing. Different pressures, different sources of the pressure, different societal expectations that if you can blow those up and say, no, I'm going to create my own definition of what success looks like and live in that, it's really empowering, but it's freaking terrifying too.
Yeah.
All right, so now that I've answered that question and given you a chance to collect yourself, please elaborate on that.
I don't know where I was, but
you're in the studio, Maverick Mindset Radio, streaming live on Facebook, blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9, going live at 9:05. Today, the Maverick Mothers Show. We got Jackie Williams in the house talking about how she does it all. So that's the question: how do you do it all?
With help. You can't do it all. Or, one of the lessons from the Maria Shriver book that I was talking about is that you can do it all within your lifetime, but you maybe can't do it all
in the moment,
in the day. And so I think it is so important to lean on community and like fight the FOMO.
Let's back up though. When you first heard that lesson,
yeah.
like high school, college years,
yeah.
and she said you can't do it all.
Yeah.
What was your first thought?
I was so angry. And like the title of the chapter includes like there's no such thing as Superman or Superwoman. And I was like, yeah, there is. Barbie does it all. Barbie's got like 50,000 careers.
She has all the jobs.
Yeah. And like I grew up in it. Like I played with Barbies for probably way too long.
Does Barbie have kids?
No, that's sister Skipper.
Yeah, so technically maybe. So that's a whole nother like mind. F. Do we swear on this show?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Oh gosh, here we go.
But yeah, so I was frustrated because why would you limit it? Why can't we do it all? And so then I set out to prove wrong. I'm gonna try to do it all.
And how did that go?
It was very stressful. And I did
well, it's
that
not possible,
for a while.
right? It's not possible.
Yeah.
Like that.
You don't sleep. That's how you do it all. That's what one mentor.
But then you're not doing it all because
that.
if you're not sleeping,
Yeah,
you're sacrificing yourself. You're not putting yourself first at all and putting everything else before that. So that's probably the worst possible answer is yes, do everything as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as an employee or employer, and you as an individual, there will be no time for that.
So
you're not doing it all in that circumstance.
I was just going to ask you to define what all is, but I think you just did. It is making sure that everybody else is satisfied with what you're doing and happy except yourself. So who defines what all is?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
You don't.
What's your definition?
Yeah, what's your definition of all? Now. What was your definition of doing it all then, and what's your definition of doing it all now? Because I bet you they're different.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to start with what's important to you, right?
To you.
To you.
Not other people's expectations.
Well, right. So and then you're also going to have, I think where the other people's expectations come into play is, these are the things that are important to me. But if I want to show up as successful in those areas, that's where other people's expectations come into play. So, I don't think everybody necessarily wants to have kids, or maybe not everybody wants to have a certain career path or whatever. But I think the pressure comes into play is like, I want to do all these things, but I also want to be viewed as someone that's successful in all those things. And that's where, okay, is success, I want to have kids. I want to have a successful marriage. I want to have kids. I want to have a career. I want to have a clean house. I want to have dogs. Well, there's a lot of things right in there that contradict clean house. And like that was always, I feel like that was always the thing for me, was like that would create the most frustration because that's the thing you see is like, okay, you don't really know.
It's your most obvious sign of failure.
Right. And you don't know.
And I say that for the people not sitting in this room, like that's 100% tongue in cheek, but that's it. It's a very visible sign that you're not doing it all.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
And so little by little, I've gotten a lot of help in that area. But like that was something that would constantly bring me back to like, I'm not being successful, because no matter what's happening at work, no matter how great our marriage is, no matter how like much time I've spent on the kids, if like I'm frustrated and angry by the condition of the house, then I'm kind of undoing some of that and bringing it back into those other areas and causing unrest. And maybe it's like tripling over into those areas. So
how'd you fix that?
Well, it started with getting a cleaning lady maybe every 2 weeks. And then those people like, oh, will you lose that cleaning lady? So I got to find a new one. But then it was like, okay, well, nothing else. We're coming back from this trip. I'm just going to send all of our laundry out.
I remember that trip. I remember it was like a week-long trip with all four of us, and we brought back all of our dirty laundry. And we said, let's just test. Let's just see what it... Just to get us caught up, let's hire somebody to do the laundry.
Yeah.
How many loads of laundry do you think you've done since then?
I've not done much since then because it was like the first.
That was 3 years ago.
Well, because it would be like every weekend, Adam would be like, "What do you want to do this weekend, or what's your plan for the weekend?" And he'd be like, "I know, laundry," and it was just like, okay, so why is our family time dictated by the laundry schedule? And so, and it wasn't like we weren't doing loads of laundry throughout the house. I mean, you know how much it piles up, but when I looked to see how much it would cost to pay someone else to do it for it, it was well worth buying back that time. And there's different price points, or like maybe you can't at this point afford to have someone just do it for you. Maybe just go to the laundromat and do it all at once.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking the small bite into like, how can I buy myself more time to do the things that are the person that you want to be, for example. So, we talk a lot about like, what do I want to be, do, and have, and
I love that you said go to the laundromat because people
we got an action item.
Well, because people would be sitting here being like, I can't afford to have somebody come in and do my laundry. Well, we can afford to go to the laundromat, right? Like there, and that's not a bad thing either. It's that, like you said, doing something, a small thing that gives you some time back. So if it's hiring somebody to do your laundry or taking your stuff to the laundromat, either way, both things, no matter who you are, you're doing something to give you time back to do the other things that are more important.
And you're thinking differently, right? Because you could just be like, no, I have this, I have a perfectly good setup, like laundry room at home. I don't want to, but
who goes to the laundromat anymore? Like that. It's
just
like,
try
you made it a good thing.
Something different and see, like, shake it up, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe this, or even like a great way to keep your kids, like take your kids with you to the laundromat, have them throw the pods in, have them learn how to do laundry.
I love
They're
that.
not going to break your stuff.
When
Well,
the industrial stuff, but like when we go camping and the laundry stacks up before we want to come home, and we'll go into like the little room, not the little room, the big room. That's basically a laundromat at these campgrounds, and the kids go in and knock out a whole bunch of laundry at once, and it's great because you can do 10 loads in the time it takes you to do one.
Yeah.
And so you throw the loads in, and then go out to the playground or whatever, like hang out and have fun. So
if you're a small business owner that owns a laundromat, you're welcome.
Yeah. There are a couple laundry services in Erie. They will
helped you out.
And the first time we did it, we had to drop off, which was an interesting. Like we filled my truck, but then we found a pickup and delivery service, and you'd be amazed. Like, don't make a judgment about this decision until you know the price, because once you find out the price and you go, wait a minute. So instead of the wear and tear on my own equipment and my water bill and my own detergent, it's funny. I'm like trying to list the ingredients of laundry. I don't even know them. And like then the mental strain of like, I've got a million things to do in my house, and there's this basket of laundry that isn't folded over here. Eliminating all of that is a really valuable thing. So laundry, yes, but and then the clean house is where we were really getting into this. Like, so how do you deal with that now? You've got 2 dogs. One of them is kind of a butthead. You've got 2 kids. One of them leaves a path of destruction behind her. You've got me. I'm great.
I was going to say.
Pretty good.
Path of destruction part 2.
That's probably where Penny gets it. So how do you deal with that now? Because you're still working in Rust Belt. You're growing this new startup business. We're hiring. Like, how do you do that? How does it work?
Well, right now we're fortunate to have a housekeeper and a nanny, and
2 separate people.
2 separate people, and I do have. I mean, there's processes that I want to see done every week that are communicated, and this is what this looks like.
I want to get out of the logistics of it.
Okay.
Which we can talk about that some other time. I want to talk about the mindset of it.
Oh,
they're doing mom's job.
Oh yeah.
Cleaning the house, doing the laundry, driving the kids around, getting them ready for activities, helping out with homework.
Which most people think that's their identity, doing those things.
Yes,
100%, which is okay if it's intentional. But those are things that a lot of people expect you to do as a wife and mother. So how do you get over that?
Well, it wasn't like a switch that I flipped. I mean, it was a lot of mind work. When we first hired those people, I felt like, geez, I better be doing
double.
to make up for this. And there was a lot of worthiness junk going around there. But it's really amazing because I now have a lot of time to be really present with my kids. And so focusing on that, because I'm not constantly like,
do your homework,
right?
Do your dishes.
Yeah, there's someone else on the team with that, and it's like that's how
not distracted or
right. It's
trying to get all that stuff done.
There is time to like sit down and play a board game with them or ask about their day instead of like.
So you had to accept
orders.
You had to accept that wasn't what you really wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
And then you also have to be somewhat mindful and intentional that when I am with my kids, I'm showing up as the best version of myself because I don't have to worry about all that other crap.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about like current struggles that you're having with that stuff now? Like you had those expectations that people were putting on you. You've gotten over those expectations. But it's now been a couple years of having help with the kids, having help with the house. Do you still have struggles with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always, I don't think anything is ever set and forget it. Like, I think there's always like, maybe we should do this differently. I mean, the kids are totally different from the kids that, a year ago. And so it's different things we need to think about. Yeah,
let's talk about that piece then. What do you do to make sure you're not raising spoiled kids? Like entitled, all the other words that you want to use, if they've got this in their lives now, how do you make sure that that's not going to ruin them as adults?
Yeah, so we worked with a parenting coach several years ago now where, we have a star system. The kids have their own chores and things that they need to do and understand. We still want to see them developing life skills because housekeepers and a nanny aren't going to follow them to college. And, also it comes down to allowing them to be accountable with, right now we're in a uncomfortable for me time with a middle schooler where do you let them take care of their schoolwork and not like or
you have to back off a little.
Yeah, overparent them. Like they have to understand if they forgot to do this, that's their consequence, so not, okay, I have extra time now because I'm not doing all these things that the housekeeper and the nanny are helping with, but I also am not going to go save him because he forgot such and such a thing at home, Can
I give a good update too?
Okay.
We talked a few episodes ago about this giraffe at Barnes & Noble with Penny.
Yeah.
And she lost so I took her to the auto parts store last night. I had to get a new battery for my truck. So surprise, surprise, she found something she wanted to buy there.
I was going to say, if it's another giraffe.
No, that would have been funny. It was she wanted two things. She wanted a Baby Yoda keychain, and she wanted hot Cheetos, like the spicy ones. And I'm like, first of all, no on the Cheetos. They'll be too spicy. And she goes, I'll get the regular ones. And then I pulled a Mom, we have Cheetos at home. And then the Baby Yoda keychain was $8. And I said, how much money do you have? I have $3. I said, well, you can't get it.
Oh, no.
And it was okay. There was no meltdown. I had to promise that when she has the $8, I will drive her back to the auto parts store. But she's already coming up with ways to earn that money. So I think that's a good example of like, here I am spending $200 on a car battery for the old truck. And, what's another $8 on top of that? Mm-hmm. I also got your Mother's Day present there, which I'm really excited about. But I didn't buy the Baby Yoda keychain. But that's a good example of like
you got hot Cheetos.
Here's a 6-year-old who walked out of the auto parts store going, man, I got to find a way to make another $5 now. So I think that life skill is something that's been really, really important. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. We got to get into our obscure holiday on our action items. But is there anything else, Jackie, that you want to make sure people know about the Maverick mother mindset? Like what didn't we cover today that you want to make sure? If there's people listening to this show, they got to know this.
So, I think there's two parts. I think the first thing is examine what you're telling yourself. Examine your belief. Is it true? Or and kind of go through some questions about is there any way that I could do this differently? Mm-hmm. And that really empowers you and takes you from a place of feeling overwhelmed and kind of like you aren't going to be a hero and helps you handle it. I'm creative, I'm power, and I can handle it. The other thing to think about is don't stop when, you know, those beliefs keep coming back up. Like, this is, you know, really silly, but like, you are going to have to choose to sacrifice. Maybe this isn't silly, but
I'm so glad you got that.
I'm getting better. I guess beyond sacrifice is a word that has a lot of context in terms of like religion or like, but generally speaking, like, and if you think about the laws of the universe or universal law, it's the idea that, you know, you want to sacrifice the lower to get to a higher. There is something that you are going to have to say no to, although I like to say yes to everything, to get to a different place, right? And this is going to sound really weird, but like that laundry was a weird thing for me. Like, imagine giving, like, laundry is something so kind of private, right? And done in like, there were things I didn't send, like, you're not going to ruin this because, like, I need to just make sure it's washed and cold and not done anything with. But like, sacrificing the fact that like people are going to have to clean your dirty laundry and sitting with that and having that trouble you for like the higher thing that you want of having a better use of your time or quality time with your kids or whatever.
Growing the business, time with the kids, time with your spouse.
Yeah, absolutely. All of those things. There are going to be things that make you feel uncomfortable, that you are going to have to sacrifice the safety of that comfort to do these greater things.
Even having somebody else watch your kids so that you can go and exercise.
Yes.
Right? Like that. Yeah. Putting yourself first in that instance is
being uncomfortable equals growing.
Right. Yeah. So that's where it is. Sacrifice the comfort, if you will, for the growth and the greater things that will come from it.
So speaking of sacrificing comfort, let me give you the worst transition in radio and podcast history. What's our obscure holiday today?
I know it's well, Adam, you tell. I think you should give this shout out and say this. What are we celebrating on May 8th?
Yeah, today, May 8th. It is National Receptionist Day. So shout out to KP, handling the phones back on 10th Street for us, for all of our businesses,
all of it,
and the people that walk in there. So happy National Receptionist Day. If you interact with a receptionist today, smile at that person sitting on the other side of the big tall desk. So cool. All right, so we got a few minutes left. Wrapping up my Maverick Mindset radio show, the Maverick Mothers episode for Mother's Day week. It's time for action items.
Okay, is that me? Is that my
cue? Because I want to get into that, and you had a good one. Again, I asked I asked Jackie if she would do the action item. Today's action items are brought to you by Pennywise Tax Strategies. Business owners, take a proactive approach to your taxes and take action now to reduce your tax bill next year. So, Jackie, what action item did you pick for the Maverick mothers out there?
So, one of the things that's helped me a lot as I've gone on this growth journey, if you haven't heard of the Start Today brand, or if you have any familiarity with Rachel Hollis, she has a great journal where you can kind of like set your vision every day. And one of the starting blocks of that whole journal is to basically write out what you want your life to look like in 10 years. So the action item is this: find a peaceful place, go close your eyes, sit with it, and what do you want to be in 10 years? And like, don't let it be like that feeling that you had when you were a kid and someone's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're saying something to please them. Please yourself. If you can't do 10, think 5, but write yourself a letter from that future self and talk about the things you want to be, do, and have, and what it feels like. And then read it regularly. Update it annually or quarterly.
So you actually did this earlier when we asked you where you wanted to be in 5 years. You started with how we start these letters. Dear 2029 Jackie, it's 5 years from now. Royce is 18 and Penny is 12. And after you write those, like, and you are, I'm not going to share your age because I can't do the math. But like that, those first few sentences, it starts flowing after that because you picture your children at that age. You can picture yourself at that age. It's actually pretty easy to do if you can find that quiet spot to go and do that. So yes, listener from 5 years from now,
right?
Write to listener of today.
Yep.
How much time do you think somebody should spend on something like that?
I'd spend at least a half hour on it.
Okay. So try and carve out 30 minutes by yourself in a peaceful, inspiring spot to get this done. Maybe the laundromat.
And to put it in your journal and revisit it to see if it came true.
All right. I have an action item too. Call your mother. It's Mother's Day week. If you don't have a mother, call your favorite person in a motherly role. So next week, we're going to talk tax tips next week. We're going to talk taxes in general. It's going to be great. So I believe in you. See you next week.